You know, the telephone was ringing off the hook. The text messages were coming through. The emails were coming through. The telegrams were coming through. The pigeons were flying onto the windowsill of my house and dropping off little notes. They said, you gotta go on the internet. You gotta listen to Mr. Hayes' interview. You gotta hear what Mr. Hayes says about the Battle of Kentucky. The Battle of Kentucky. Saturday, October the 1st in Winchester. It's the MWA against the NWF. You gotta go on the internet. You gotta see what Mr. Hayes says. So I did that. Mr. Hayes wants to talk about tradition. Mr. Hayes wants to talk about pride. He wants to talk about the long history of the MWA. He wants to talk about the pride that he feels for the MWA. Well, Mr. Hayes and everybody else, I want to tell you a little something. I want to tell you a little bit about tradition. I want to tell you a little bit about pride. I want to tell you a little bit about the NWF. The Northern Wrestling Federation, since day one, has been better than the MWA. Halfway through, we were better than the NWA. I stand here today in front of you, better than the MWA. You want to talk about tradition? Let's talk about tradition. Let's talk about Psycho Sam, the man that could not be kept down. Let's talk about Prince Justice. Let's talk about Rob the Bomb. Let's talk about Angel. Let's talk about Wild Kid Chris Harris. It goes on and on. We have always been better, Mr. Hayes. We are better, Mr. Hayes. And we will always be better, Mr. Hayes. Why? Because our tradition is better. Why? Because our pride is stronger. Why, Mr. Hayes? Because I go onto the internet and I see your interview and you're sitting in your office. You're sitting in your plush office, Mr. Hayes, talking about Saturday, October the 1st, the Battle of Kentucky. Well, here I am, Mr. Hayes. Here I am. I am in my office. And that's why I'm better than you, Mr. Hayes. I live, I breathe, I eat, I dream about what happens in this ring. I dream, I live, and I will die for the Northern Wrestling Federation, Mr. Hayes. I ask you, Mr. Hayes, with all your tradition, all of your pride, will you die for the NWA, Mr. Hayes? Will you take a beating which is coming to you, Mr. Hayes? It's all about pride. And it's all about tradition. What do you got to offer, Mr. Hayes? I got Stuart Oliver Backlund to offer. What about Stuart Oliver Backlund, Mr. Hayes? He beat your man. He beat Chucky Smooth for the Kentucky title. Who do I got to offer? I got Virus. Who do you got? Jordan Cage. Jordan Cage, have you ever been infected, son? That's something for you to think about. That's something for you to sleep on. And what about the MWA and the Northern Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion Chiron? Larry D, you are big. Larry D, you are tough. But Larry D, you are not Chiron. Larry D, you are not Chiron, and you know it. You know it, and it eats at your crawl every day. And Mr. Hayes, I have laid out the strategy. I have laid it all out. Jordan Cage is no Virus. Chucky Smooth is no Stuart Oliver Backlund. Larry D, you are not no Chiron. I even got you in the tag teams. My tag teams are even better than the MWA. The Thugs, Nasty Russ and T-Money are gonna come down to Winchester on October the 1st. And Bobby Blade and Max Sled, you are gonna look to the heavens above and you are gonna say, what in the world did you get us into, Mr. Hayes? What did you get us into? Mr. Hayes, you better load up the battleships. Mr. Hayes, you better load those machine guns. Mr. Hayes, you better get all the ammunition you can, because me and my boys are gonna load up. We're gonna drive down 75. We're gonna hit 64 and head to Winchester. And Winchester will never be the same. Winchester will never be the same. We are from the north, you are from the south. The north is always more superior. Up in the north, in the great north where the NWF is, we have human beings. In the south where you are, Hayes, hillbillies, rednecks, and people cashing in welfare checks. So cash in those welfare checks. Get in line at the Fanny Bush Elementary, October the 1st. The Battle of Kentucky. It's tradition. It's pride. It's the NWF against the NWA. Mr. Hayes, what did you get these boys into? Mr. Hayes, what did you get these boys into? When the sweat is beating down your forehead, Mr. Hayes, you're going to look above and you're going to say, God Almighty, what did I do?